If you love talking about cats, but your friends and family are kind of over it, this is the podcast for you. Join your hosts, Danielle Stray Woolley and Elizabeth Calico Gearhart, on the Jersey Podcats, where everyday cat lovers share funny stories, challenging situations, and ask their questions about cats. All right, let's get right into this episode.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle Woolley.
And I'm Elizabeth Gearhart, and we are the Jersey Podcats.
And we are here today to obviously talk about cats. If you didn't know that, that's what we do. And we have a guest with us today. I'd like to introduce you all to my friend, Betsy O'Connell. She is also the owner of Trinity Wellness Emporium, and she is a big lover of cats, a big supporter of the cat, rescue community, as well as the community in general. So welcome, Betsy.
Thank you for having me.
And the reason she is here is because we were catching up recently, and obviously we just kept talking about cats for who knows how long. So I was like, you know what? You need to come on and be a guest, because some of the stuff that she shared, I was like, oh, the listeners would love to hear this stuff. So most important question, which I bet you is where Elizabeth is getting, is, do you have any cats? And if so, what is their name?
Me? Okay, so I do have a cat. Her name is Reese's. It's spelled like the Reese's peanut butter cups, except I say it Reese's instead. My sister actually named her, or I happen to hear her say Reese's because she has the two colors. She's gray and she's three colors, sorry, gray, orange, and white. So it kind of stuck. She was like a little Reese's peanut butter cup.
But I like how you said, it's spelled this way, but we say it this way. My cats have 9 names depending on the time of day.
That's true.
Mine too.
Same here.
So how long have you had cats? Have you been a cat lover your whole life, or did you just start?
I always liked cats. I never had them growing up. My mother was actually afraid of them, believe it or not. And it wasn't until I started dating my ex that I was really introduced to the home life with cats. And when we had gotten married, he brought his 2 cats with us, and they became my babies. They were both males. And then fast forward, one was about 17, and then the other one was about 19 years old. And then I had a time period without cats, and I had missed having a cat for so long that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get a cat. And I have her now. She's snuggling up and going to sleep. But yeah.
And how did that happen? Because when we first met, I was like, oh, you love animals, you should get a cat. And you're like, oh, I had them. And you're like, I'm not sure if I'm ready. And then what happened?
Yeah, so I like giving myself a time away to actually mourn the pets that I've had. I don't like rushing into a new one, because I don't find it fair for the new pet that's coming in, to fill that void. I want to, be able to process and go through that. So I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I had said how I missed cats, having a cat in my life, and, how they're not as needy as dogs. In my opinion, I know some people are going to
except for Thor, who you can't hear because I have my noise cancel on. He's talking his head off in the background because it is now treat time, and I'm doing this instead.
Oh, you said the magic word. She might come around. Yeah. So, but he happened to mention how he was thinking of getting one for him and his children, because it was, really great for anxiety and things like that. And they were really great to calm down the nerves. And I agreed. And I was telling him how great my other 2 cats were. So one day, I don't even know how long after that conversation, I just received a text with a couple pictures of him, his kids, and 2 cats, saying this just happened. And I was like, holy crap. So he actually told me there was a 3rd in the litter that still needed to be adopted. And he sent me her link, and I saw her, and the foundation's down in Tom's River. It's called All for One, FUR.
Oh yeah.
One. Yeah. They're fantastic. And she was actually staying with one of the founders of the foundation. And she was so adorable and so tiny. And it was I sat on it for a little bit, but I kind of wanted him. He actually told me, he's like, if you don't scoop her up, I think I might have to, even though he thought he couldn't afford it.
Creating FOMO.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I went to see her, and I was like, I think I could do this. And I applied for the adoption and I got approved. And I had like left it to the universe, like they say. And I was like, if I'm meant to have this cat, I'll get approved. If it's meant to happen, she'll come to me. And sure enough, here we are, fast forward, and she's been wonderful. More to my children and my boyfriend and my family than to me, but she's still very loving and sweet. So
well, that's how I wound up with so many cats, because I would bring them in and then they would fall in love with Brian. And I'm like, that's not fair. Anyone for me now. And then your little boyfriend, whose painting is behind me because he's no longer with us, Loki, loved her. Like as soon as she came in, and I was like, I don't know if it's your smell, your aura, your kindness, but you could just tell that he was like, I like her. She's a cat person.
Yeah, he was I was very attached to him. He was so freaking cute.
Yeah,
he was
grieving
adorable.
Thank you. And grieving is important too, because as soon as like I announced recently, actually I didn't announce on here yet, but we unfortunately, I'm looking down so I don't cry because I'm looking at two of my close friends. We recently lost Luffy unexpectedly. So because I'm in rescue and because I love animals, the first thing everyone said was, oh, well, you had a big heart, you gave him great life, now you have room for more. And I was like, no, like I'm crying all day. I was doing a puzzle the other day and just happened to look where he normally sits. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's not there. So I'm in no rush. And now my cats are getting more attention than ever. Thor is like singing his family like song in the background. And next time maybe I'll use my microphone so you can hear it. But he's been wonderful. He's been following me around all over the place. And I'll wait for another episode to share more about what happened with Luffy. But I just wanted to highlight what you said about grieving. It's okay. Like even you, Elizabeth, with your girl, you still talk about her all the time. I'm sure you're still grieving her.
Yeah, I do. I miss Checkers. I have videos of her, and she was so sweet and cute. You forget. I think you kind of have to forget a little bit because you can't go on at that level of grieving all the time. But then I look at those videos, I was like, God, she really was an amazing cat.
Yeah.
She was awesome. So I'm glad I have those. But I'm grieving is tough, but I also agree, like, I'm not sure you're ready for a cat because you don't know what the personality would be. Like, it's not going to step into Lefty's shoes and sit where Lefty sat.
No.
Right?
And like what we're working on now is because we have an outdoor cat too, that we've been trying for years to get to come in. I tell the story about how he finally came upstairs, and then I was very unexperienced with cat rescue at this point. I tried to bring a litter box and like a blanket into the room, and he felt trapped, and he climbed through, like my window wasn't even open all the way. It's actually right by me. I don't want to mess up the computer to show you guys. And if you're listening, you're like, I can't see anyway, so stop referencing things I can't see. I'm listening. But he actually clawed through the screen and popped it open and jumped from the second story.
Oh my God.
So I was like, okay, he's an outdoor cat. We've tried. Fast forward to just 2 days ago, I was running an errand. I'm actually taking care of my friend's cats while they're away. And Brian sends me a picture of the stray cat. He just let himself upstairs and he fell asleep right on the chair behind me. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not coming back upstairs because I don't want him to freak out. But you just don't know. So long story medium, as I like to say, is I'm just taking the opportunity to like clean up house, take care of my health, because I'm doing health stuff too, doing more with the rescue, setting up fundraisers. Me and Betsy were talking about doing something with her studio too. And just, when it's ready for something else to happen or another cat to come, they'll probably show up knocking on my front door. They'll be like, doot, 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 hi, Danielle, I'm here.
Well, and cats are a lot of work. I mean, I know people say, oh, they're so much easier than dogs, and you can just leave them and all this. Not true in my house, because we went away for a week and we had somebody house sitting, our cleaning lady, who the cats know, she's the only one they really accept, stayed at the house for a week with them. And when I came home, they had, Kushi especially, my old man, had missed me so much. I was
tripping over him, I'm sure.
Well, he sleeps on my pillow. So one night, so the night after we got home, or the night we got home, whatever, I couldn't sleep very well. So I was reading my book in bed for a couple of hours in the middle of the night. He purred for 2 hours straight against my head on my pillow.
Aww.
So, and he was following me all over the house. He wouldn't let me out of his sight. So there, you can't just get them and ignore them. They're a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, I also found out that if depending on their personality aside, the type of attention and affection you give them, they'll reciprocate back. So if you are finding that they're more independent and you just want a more independent cat and you leave them be, that's the type of cat you're going to get. If you're more affectionate, they're going to be more affectionate with you. Like with my son, as soon as he walks in, he scoops her up, he lays down with her, he pets her, she'll purr, she'll stay there. Sometimes she's even falls asleep on him. She doesn't do that with me, but she'll like, you know, she'll snuggle up with him. And then she's like, when she's had enough of the love overload, she's like, all right, I'm done. And then she's gone. But she keeps coming around to him. Like he'll call her, she comes. He even calls her by her name and she'll show up, you know, like it just depends on, you know, how you are with them. So they will reciprocate that back, at least in my findings.
Yeah. And I think too, and I don't know if it's just an experience of what you said, because thinking back, we had also talked about, you know, I feel like the cats that are girls love him more and the cats that are boys love me more. But I think you're right. It has to do with the amount of time and attention. So at the time that I had Callie, I was traveling a ton. I was never home. So it became his cat. And then I would just come home after being away for a week and be like, why won't you love me? And she's like, lady, get away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were hoping Max would be like that, but he had so many health issues that he wasn't. But Lily, so she is very affectionate if she's laying down or if she walks up to you on the sofa, but you cannot pick her up. Like she does not like that. And it's definitely all on her terms. Absolutely. But she's the sweetest cat and she's really cute and she's very spunky. So yeah, they all have different personalities.
Yeah. For anybody who's watching on YouTube, I did just find the picture I was talking about where the stray cat that at once tried to, you know, end his life rather than live with me. This is him. He put himself to sleep right on my chair.
Oh dear God, look at that.
Yeah, so then I had to work from my kitchen table because I didn't want to disturb him.
Yeah, you know, speaking of that, I have a hard time going through my papers and paying my bills because I get a lot of help from Max.
Oh yeah, he sits on top of them.
He sits on top of everything. And he's like, if I have 2 or 3 piles, he's like trying to figure out which one I'm going to go to next to get there first. It's so funny. Yeah.
Mine is like that with the laptop. I don't know if you guys find that. I'll have my laptop out. And I actually heard that if you get like a small laptop for the cats, they'll just stay next to you with theirs. But I find that when I have mine out, she'll actually come by like, what are you doing? What's going on? But she'll stay far enough away where she's not like all up in my business. Whereas with my male cats, they would lay on me and either have an arm stretched out on the keyboard, or they were like chewing on the side because they wanted attention or something. Like they were like needy for attention. Where this one, she just kind of like, oh, what are you doing? What's all this about? And then, you know, just hangs out at the side. Like now she's in her cat tree. Oh, now she's sleeping. But she's usually
she knows we're talking about her.
Yeah, she's close enough to where she could see what I'm doing, but far enough away where she's like, all right, I get to nap.
Oh, that's Thor right now. He's done on his singing journey and he's just sitting in the stairwell, kind of like hanging out. So, well, thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to share cat-wise?
Oh, you mentioned about the trip. So I remember this was years ago, maybe when I first got married. Early, I want to say maybe like over 15 years ago. We had gone away and we had people cat sitting for us. They would come in, you know, feed, play with them and go. And anytime I found that we went away on a trip or that we were away, the cat, he was lucky, he would actually sit on the suitcase. And even if I opened the suitcase, he would plop himself in the suitcase. Like, you're not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here. And I remember when I was away for a little longer, I don't even remember where I went, but I remember I was away for a while. He actually, in a while being like a week, because I never really went away too long. He actually got on the suitcase and gave me his back because he was so pissed off. And he wouldn't look at me for like maybe 2 days.
Because he knew what was going on.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want you to. And we had to put away the suitcase in order for him to be okay with that. Otherwise, he'd lay on it and not get off of it because he was afraid we were going to go away again.
Yeah, that's interesting because with Tony and Derek's been warming up more because I've had some health challenges. I've had people come into the house to visit me more. Whereas before I always went out and nobody ever came over. So if people would come in, they'd be like, out people and run.
Yeah.
But Derek's been more friendly. With Tony, if we leave out a suitcase or a carrier, or even like my gym bag or a book bag, he gets panicked. He thinks, oh, that means that people are going to be like, strangers are coming. I'm in trouble. So we try to do it like really sneakily. We usually do it like in the front room where he doesn't go in that much, and like set the suitcases up in there. Because, you know, I don't want to knowingly stress my cats out, but then I also don't want them to always be scared forever. So
yeah, they do control us pretty well, don't they?
yeah.
Yes, they do.
I can't go anywhere because the cat will get mad.
Yeah.
It's true.
Unless we do like a yoga class where it could be like, bring your cat yoga.
I wonder how, that would
let's
work.
look into legalities. Oh my gosh. We'll talk.
I wonder how that would work.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
have yet to bring her to
Thor
the
would probably
studio.
be okay. The rest of the cats, no.
Yeah, it would depend, because I think a lot has to do with the sex of the animal, as opposed to just, because if they're kittens, they're more curious, but if they're like older, I think they're more territorial.
Yeah, and you know what? Being in rescue, that sounds traumatizing for the cats, and all of my friends who might be listening to this is probably saying what's wrong with her. But we'd also have to make sure they're tested, vaccinated, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I just poo-pooed my own idea, but it sounded great.
Well, you could do it at home, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll go with the cat at home.
Have a cat party at my house where they all hide and run because they have their secret spots.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is getting out of control now, so I think we're about done for today. How can people connect with you if they want to learn more about your studio, Betsy?
Trinity Wellness Emporium.com, or you can look up Trinity Wellness Emporium on social media. So I'm on Instagram. I'm also the Quirky Yogi. That one's my own personal, social media page, but it's Instagram and Facebook is where you can find me.
And where is your studio located?
Union Beach,
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, because we get people from all over.
I keep forgetting about that. Yeah.
Great.
So people want to do yoga, go see Betsy.
Yeah, and she holds a bunch of events too. So
yes, I actually have a
yoga.
vendor event at the end of the month on the 29th. I love supporting small business. So I have, vendors come in that it's either their main gig or it's their side gig, and they'll come in and they'll sell their products or, promote, like with Tommy's Cats, we did the one fundraiser, collecting cans and stuff like that, and food and blankets. And I usually give a discount so that we can get more of that in for the foundation. So
yeah, well,
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow us on social media, the Jersey Podcats Podcast, or at thejerseypodcats.com, and on your favorite platform and YouTube. I think I got it all now.
Yay.
Goodbye.
thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. Give this podcast a rating so other cat lovers can find it. Connect with the Jersey Podcats on social media, or visit thejerseypodcats.com and leave a message sharing a story or question about cats. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you in the next episode.